I've let that thing cycle 6 times now. Like I say, my neighbor told me, he said all he did was just let me spin the old ones off, fill both new ones with fuel, put them on, and fire it up. So let's see what happens. Well, hey, that works. Just turned it back off here. I'm not sure what the purpose is of leaving that secondary fuel footer empty. See, that's going to allow a whole bunch of air to get all pumped up in the thing. But yeah, like I said, that's what the book said. Fill the primary, leave this one here empty, and crack that thing right there open. But like I say, my neighbor told me all he ever did was just let me fill them both up, spin them on. And I don't know if he let it cycle like I did there, but I think I did about a half a dozen times to prime it up. But anyway, hey, it started good. So now the next project is I've got to grab my grease gun. I'm going to grease up the front end, the tie rods, and the pivot, and then it'll be time to start changing the transmission and hydraulic oil filters. Got my grease gun here. I turned the wheels and straightened them up. However, it may actually be easier to get the tie rods and that kind of stuff if I take and turn them left and right. But getting right here in the middle on the center pivot, let's see here. Okay, there's that one right up on that pin. I can go ahead and hit that one. Get that greaser cleaned off. And if I can get my, there we go. Looks like I may need to put a new nozzle on my hose. Can't want to leak grease around it. Okay. Well, I can't see it coming out anywhere. Usually it begins to shove out someplace. That's got her pretty good, so we'll go ahead and move around the back and get the back side of the axle. Back here on the back side of the front axle, I'm not finding a grease circ right here up on the back side of the pivot, and I'm wondering if that front zerk doesn't grease the whole entire thing. It's got a big pivot pin that probably pushes the grease right through the middle of the pin into a and out the middle of it. Let's go over here on the right hand side of that drive shaft and look up underneath there. I'm not seeing anything. Okay, evidently there's not a back grease zerk. Well, I guess since I'm underneath here, I can go ahead and hit the ball joints and the tie rods. That'll work. Well, tie rods in the steer cylinders right here. Got a cylinder on each side. So we'll go ahead and hit these and hit this top tie rod, and that'll work. Okay, here we are on the cylinder tie rod. We'll go ahead and hit that one. All right, that's got that one. Now we'll move up here to the top side. And let's see. Hopefully you can see this one right there. That's the tie rod that actually goes and connects both the left and right side. Get that one. Ah, come on. Okay. Grease shoved out the bottom of it. Now we'll hit the kingpins. Just got done getting the front end all greased up, and it's pretty self-explanatory. And it's kind of a pain trying to carry a camera and a grease gun all around underneath here. But you got, of course, you got your top and bottom king pins and your tie rods and all that kind of stuff, so we're good to go on that. And you have your main pivot up here, and like I say, from everything I can tell, you just simply have one zerk right up there, and it greases that whole entire pin going across the top of the differential. Now I'm going to jump up underneath and start checking out on changing the hydraulic and tranny filters. Okay, I'm up underneath here on the right hand side, trying to get my lights set around. Okay, right there is one of the filters, and right there's the other. Looks like a great way to get an oil bath. Right there's the radar drum. In fact, let's see here, if I can, if I put the bean planter on the same thing, I'm going to have to see about getting the monitor tied into that. If I can find the pigtail somewhere, I'm not exactly sure where, or it might actually be in the tractor cab. So, and I also found out this is actually the same size filter, this one right here, that our sprayer takes. So I'm going to grab my filter wrench and we'll get that thing dropped out of there. Got my filter strap here. Just going to take and wrap it around that thing. I grabbed several extensions. Maybe I grabbed too many. See if we can get that wrapped around. This looks like also a great way to get an oil bath right in the face, because you're literally working kind of above you. So let's just see here if we can keep that from happening as well. Okay, get the ratchet pulled down. Whoa, well, that thing spun loose awful fast, man. Okay, get my lights back out of the way. Make sure you have a bucket underneath it. And there comes the oil. And so take and let it run down that way. It can take and pretty much drain all out and kind of stop running down. That should have it. And then once it quits dripping all off, I'll finish taking it down out of there. Okay, I thought I was going to slow down and stop dripping out. But it's still dripping. So let's see if I can take this off without having a bunch of oil run halfway up my arm, in my shirt, in my coat, and everything else. Well, that might do it. It's got to be getting close. Yeah, I can feel it kind of wiggling on the little cap stand. Oh man, it must be a mile long in there. I'm sorry about that. We got people talking in the background. It gets really annoying. Let's see here. Kind of had taken. Oh, there we go. There we are. Okay, there we are. We're good. If you can, just take and. Yeah, kind of like that. Take and drop the thing into the bucket. Okay, I see now. It's got, not too sure how well you can see on camera, but it's got quite a big cavity up in there that it's got to take and drain all out of. So that's what it takes a while to drain down. And here is the new filter. Take and put that up underneath there, spin him on, and you're good to go again. Well, supposedly anyway. There we go, just get the threads lined up. That thing's got a long centerpiece on it. There we go. All right, now we're ready to take and move up and get the front filter dropped out. Let me get you down out of here. I would highly recommend changing the back filter first, then do the front one. That way, if you should have some oil kind of wanting to leak down, you go from back to front, Then when you're done, you roll on out with your creeper. That way you're not getting a bunch of oil dumped on top of your head. Now that we're up here on the front one, this one here's got something kind of unique. I like that. You take a 1/2-inch extension, and it's got a receptacle plug right there. Now that makes it nice. They need to make all filters with that. Come on. Boy, that thing's on there tight. Man. I'm going to have to get a bigger breaker bar. Got my longer breaker bar on this thing. Let's see if we can get that thing broke loose. There we go, finally. It was put on tight enough, I can tell you that much. Unlike the other one that just spun loose. Okay, there we go. Now we got it loosened up, we'll take and pull the bucket underneath it, and we're ready to start draining that one. Yep, there comes the oil. That's what you want. There we go. Just let them drain all out, then when it stops, change them out, you're good to go. I let this thing drain out for quite a while. That way it'd stop and you're not getting a bunch of oil dumped right down your arm. I'll say one thing, this is a tall filter. Uh-oh. Well, I thought it was done draining. There it comes again. Huh. Well, that's odd. Well, I guess I'll leave it sit for a little while longer. Well, let's see if we can do this again. Okay, it feels like it's just, there we go. Just wait to let go. I can say this is a long filter. Oh. Huh. I get looking at dropping it down into the bucket. That thing's almost the same height of a 5-gallon bucket. Wow. I guess it needs a lot of capacity. Okay, looking up in there. Now my hands are all covered with oil. I can see what looks like a really big cavity up there. That's why it took so long to actually drain down out of there. So, get my hands all halfway cleaned up here. I'll get the new filter drug out and get him spun on, and we'll be ready to roll again. Okay, there's what it looks like up underneath there with the filter off. You can see that hookup way up top there. So, I'm gonna grab the new filter. Got the new filter here. And just out of curiosity, I took and set the new filter beside a 5-gallon bucket. And it is the same height. It's a big tall thing. Come on. Got to get the right angle to plug in. This filter here though, with it being a, there we go, being a Napa filter, it does not have that little receptacle on the side, which isn't going to hurt anything. I'm not going to have this one here down near as tight as what that one was. So, Okay, now here's a good perfect example of where I'm actually going to use my filter strap to tighten that thing and bump it on down just a little bit. Take and put my filter strap on here, and it don't need much, just a little bit more additional bump down. Just the way it's positioned in there, you can't get your hands in there to turn it. So we're just going to take and bumping down like that. There we go. Okay, that should have it. Alright guys, well, I'm going to call this an end of the video, I think. All I got to do is I'm going to start the tractor. That way I can take and get them filters filled back up. Shut it back off, leave it sit for a while. Add some hydraulic / transmission oil in through right there. Bring it back up to the full mark. And this thing should be ready to go. And that should have it. So, hey, take care. Thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you next time.